And good Wednesday mid-afternoon, starting a little bit late today on the 359 podcast, episode 279. I am BVG, and in the house today we've got Roger Cheng and Alfred Ng, and we are talking about...
stuff.
Birds, Netflix, and the phone.
The phone
thing.
Right, the Galaxy Note 8. Yeah, we're taking a little bit longer to get our act together today.
Because it's Wednesday.
Right.
Dudes.
Dude, seriously. No, stop. All right, so we're going to be talking about the Galaxy Note 8. The reviews came out yesterday, literally as we were starting our podcast yesterday, so we didn't get a chance to address it, but we'll talk about it today. We'll also talk about T-Mobile's new offer. Basically, if you're a T-Mobile One customer, you get some free Netflix coming. So there's that. And lastly, we want to pull a little plug for Stephen Shanklin's latest road trip story about birding and the tech behind birding. Stop flashing your gang signs, man.
It's a bird, dude.
It's a bird gang sign. I know what a bird gang sign is. I used to flash that.
Careful.
Sorry. The sign. Flash the sign. Never mind.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry for the ridiculousness. This is, after our normal time, so we're a little loopy as usual.
We got the lunch lulls.
That's right. Although I haven't had lunch
I haven't
yet.
had lunch either.
Yeah,
no.
I know.
I usually eat around this time.
I've just been working, yeah.
I'm doing the podcast now instead.
All right, so as always, if you have any questions about any of these topics, except for the birding one, since we're not really experts, that's Stephen Shanklin's thing.
Unless you're talking about the gangs.
Leave it in the comment section. Brian will get the best. We will try to address them in 3 minutes and 59 seconds.
All right, hang out. We'll get this podcast recorded, come back, meet you in the chat in 3 minutes and 59 seconds from 3, 2...
Welcome to the 359. I'm Roger Cheng.
I'm Alfred Ng.
So the Galaxy Note 8 reviews are out, and unsurprisingly, they're all pretty positive. The most feature-packed phone, the best Android phone that's out there, but there are some caveats. One, it's really expensive. There are a lot of features, and there's some questions about whether or not you need all those features for the price. And also, in the coming months, we'll have the Pixel 2 coming out, so we can't really say if this is like the best Android phone for the year, at least until Google comes out with their phone.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it for the price, but our audience already knows how cheap and broke I am. So.
Well, it's $930, so even if you are, making a decent living, that is an expensive phone, right? That the perspective might change when Apple comes out with a $1,000 iPhone next week.
They're raising the bar on, what's considered
price.
cheap now.
Yes, exactly.
But, I mean, the thing is like a lot of the hardware, under the hood for it, outside of the camera, is really the same as the Galaxy S8, which is, a few $100s cheaper.
I think that's really the best point there is this phone is not, it's marginally different than the Galaxy S8 and even the Galaxy S8 Plus, which has a display that's 0.1 inches smaller.
Yeah.
So it's really basically the same thing, except for the stylus and the dual camera.
Yeah, if you really want to shell out an extra, like $200-$300 for that, so you can draw on your screen, I mean, sure, go ahead. It's your money. It's not mine. So.
Well, remember, it's actually the discount's probably cheaper at this point because you can get a GS8 and a Galaxy S8 Plus at a discounted rate now. You can imagine more discounts are going to come in the coming weeks once the Note 8 really gets a chance to be out in the market. And so the price disparity is going to be fairly wide.
Yeah, speaking of discounts and deals, though, what's going on with T-Mobile and Netflix?
So T-Mobile they announced today that basically if you're a T-Mobile One family plan customer, you'll get Netflix for free.
So, I mean, what's the deal there, though? Like, how much does it cost to have a family plan to begin with?
That's the thing. It still costs, $60, $70 a month, plus whatever extra lines. And you need to have at least 2 T-Mobile One accounts to be eligible for this. You get the standard Netflix plan, which is a $10 a month plan.
I will say this, though. It is a much better offer than, when Sprint goes around saying, we're going to give everybody a free Tidal account.
Oh, yeah.
Who cares?
Yes.
I think they made a smart move by going with, Netflix on this.
Yeah, I mean, going with basically the largest subscription streaming service site with like all the content we all watch is sort of it's a good way to go.
I wonder if after AT&T's merger with Time Warner that they would be able to get like HBO Go for free on that.
Yeah,
That could be a plan.
they already offer that now. Basically, if you have, but the problem with AT&T is if you have to subscribe to the most expensive unlimited data plan to get HBO for free.
And this isn't their most expensive unlimited data
No, this
plan,
is for
right?
everyone who's got T-Mobile One.
Yeah.
So this is basically their baseline plan or their main plan. All right, lastly, I want to give a plug out to Stephen Shanklin. who wrote a fairly epic story on bird watching, the art of birding, and how technology, mobile apps, camera gear, online services are making it easier for you to become a birder. He followed sort of the highest profile birders in the field. Noah Stricker was one of them, and really a fascinating story. I'm not a big birding fan, but I think reading the story, it'd be kind of interesting.
$15,000 camera for birding.
There's some free apps. There's a couple of apps that are like a couple of bucks. So.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably use those instead.
Yes. So for those stories and more, check us out on CNET. I'm Roger Cheng.
I'm Alfred Ing.
Thanks for listening.
All right, that snuck up on me quick there.
Yeah.
The birds?
Yes,
well,
the
the
birds.
timer wasn't running either, so I had no idea.
Yeah, that was my
I think
fault.
that was about 4 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Close enough.
Yeah,
My
close
internal
enough.
clock is usually accurate about these things.
Our internal clock is about 30 to 45 seconds late every time.
Sounds
I know,
about
so
right.
We're pretty consistently like 30 to 45 seconds off.
All right, so anyways, we're back from recording the podcast. Please submit any questions and comments about the Samsung Galaxy S8.
Note
and-
8.
Note 8,
Note
sorry.
8.
All right, they're in the chat's already lighting up with what an idiot I am. And bird watching is kind of an interesting one. I'm kind of curious to see if there's anyone out there who is interested in that hobby. I know when I was younger, I was just kind of generally, and this is speaking way over my pay grade here, that was into zoology. I thought animals were fantastic. I loved going to zoos. I read books by Audubon. I kind of want to read more on this story by Stephen, to be honest.
I was really into hawks and like falcons, like bird of prey. I thought they were really cool.
Just because they're badass.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
I thought they were really cool when I was a kid.
All right. Sorry, got totally
So
distracted
what
there for a
questions do we have?
second. Still fishing right there.
All right.
Go ahead and expand a little bit more on what Jessica had in her review
Yeah.
for the Note 8.
I mean, a couple of things that was actually kind of surprising because one of the features that I really was looking forward to using extensively was this portrait mode. Their version of portrait mode, which is live focus, the idea that you can do that bokeh or the blur
They
effect.
didn't have that on the S8, right?
That's not on the S8.
Okay.
No. And so she found it to be a little finicky. It didn't work well all the time. Although, to be fair, the portrait mode on your iPhone 7 doesn't work well all the time either. You have to have like sort of ideal sunlight conditions for it to really work. But it didn't work as well as I would like. One of the other annoying aspects that came back from the S8, the fingerprint sensor, which is still, it's actually even worse now because it's still by the camera, but because the phone is longer. You've got to really reach up there with your finger. That looked really bad. Sorry about that. But you really got to stretch your finger to hit the unlock button. The fingerprints. Stop, dude. Stop. I apologize. So, a couple of annoying bits, but that said, like it runs on the same super fast processor as the S8. It does have the stylus. It's got that cool note-taking ability, which, most people aren't going to use, but it's kind of nice to have.
Remember when they announced the Note 8 and they talked about how great their photos would look in low light, and their demo photos actually did look kind of stunning?
Yes.
And then we were on this very podcast saying we'll see what like these low light photos actually look. Did you see her low light photos?
They weren't that.
They were not good.
Yeah.
But to be fair though, nobody has a good low light
That's,
camera.
I was
going
to say the exact same thing. Like everyone always claims that they've made the big breakthrough on low light photos, and
then normal people get their hands on it, and
Yep.
it's not.
It's like, yeah, it looks great if you have like a professional photographer take that phone and like mess with the settings and like the lighting and everything. Yeah, sure, that photo's gonna be great. But yeah, you or me use it, it's not gonna look that nice.
I just like to call it out every time, just because they always present it as
Everyone,
this, and then
yes.
every time we get our hands on it, it's like, no, it's not.
Nope.
What are you talking about?
Nope, still bad.
So anybody that was looking forward to taking photos in the dark with the Note 8, sorry.
I don't know what you're doing. I'm taking photos in the dark, but
Pokemon Go, man.
okay. I was gonna say clubbing. That's a thing, right? People go clubbing still.
I mean, you're the right age, right? Let's jump into the chat. Fraynell from Methuen, Massachusetts said, "Hey, Roger, what are your thoughts on the Note 8? Are you going to upgrade?"
I am. You know what? I was considering it because I kind of like the stylus and the fact that I can jot on it on the lock screen, which is, I think it actually has some text recognition, which would be kind of nice. It'd be like basically a reporter's notepad.
I feel like reporters would like to think that, but I don't think you're going to do it that.
Jessica does it though.
She writes on the
She
screen?
actually actively uses it. Yeah.
Does she just not record when she's talking
You
to
can
people?
hit record and you can do the thing. You
Oh,
can-
really?
Yeah, you can record and you can jot.
What, like through Bixby or something?
I don't know, not through Bixby.
Because
Well,
there's no record button
you
on
can
the phone.
I mean, you could push the.
You'd have to
record
go to like
button.
the
Oh,
app
you're right.
and then like turn it off and
I
then
guess
go to
you're
your
right.
screen.
I don't know. Maybe she has a separate recorder, or maybe she just jots notes down. I don't know. You have to ask Jessica. Personally, I like the idea. I want to see what the Pixel 2 looks like before I make any kind of decision. Yeah, I thought about this with the S8 too, because I like the S8, and especially size-wise. I don't know if I really want the
You're
super
still using
gentle
like
phone.
the S6 Edge, right?
I'm using the S6 Edge, which is terrible. So I've kind of swapped it out for a loaner Pixel, which I love. And so I'm kind of hoping that the Pixel 2 is a big upgrade, so that would make my decision process a little bit easier. Although I have to say I like the Note 8 and the Note writing taken.
And also has a headphone jack,
Headphone jack is clutch.
which
Yeah.
you know, if you look at it, maybe the Pixel 2 is not.
I keep
gonna
trying to
have
shove
it,
my
so-
lightning headphone into my my Pixel. It doesn't really work so well.
Keep me posted on that Pixel 2. I'm in the market.
Yeah.
All right, Michael Brown, our buddy Michael Brown. Do you
Michael.
guys think phone makers, in this case Samsung, care for stealing consumers from competitors, or is everyone just kind of set in their demographics?
I would say Samsung is probably keen on stealing from other Android makers. And yes, they would ideally like to steal from iPhone customers or iPhone users.
But do you think that's actually part of the strategy, or are they just kind of fingers crossed?
I mean,
Nah,
yeah,
I think-
I mean, they strategize around doing it. I just don't know if they're actually successful at that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I feel like if they wanted to steal from their competitors, like specifically between Android and Apple, they'd make their features a lot more similar to
Not
make
just
it
that.
easier
It's
to
just
jump over.
I think everyone kind of knows at this point that like it's really tough to get someone to switch operating systems, especially if they've been at it for a couple of years. So, I mean, I think for them it's looking more at Xiaomi and looking at low budget guys, looking at LG, maybe not LG, but looking at various other Android makers and looking at Google and Pixel customers.
Yeah, I think if anything, Google and Xiaomi and Huawei, they're the ones that are trying to build something to steal away from Samsung.
Samsung. Yeah,
yes, I don't
absolutely.
think Samsung's trying to steal away from
Right.
the other folks.
I mean, they're looking at market share, but because they're by far the most dominant player now, I think that you're right. They're less mindful of that. They're more like, we want to make sure we make money off these phones as well as dominate the market.
if anything, Samsung is trying to steal people away, like based off of their software. Like they have their own like TouchWiz thing going on their.
Yeah,
device
but
and
that's
things.
never really been
Yeah.
successful. Like
Yeah.
the sales point of like, come join the Samsung family.
mean, they
you get to use TouchWiz. Like
I mean,
that never
they're
works.
doing that with Bixby right now.
Well, yeah, but it's not working so well either. No
trying.
one is
They're-
buying that phone for Bixby.
I'm
Let's
just
say
saying
that.
they're trying.
They are trying. I don't think they're succeeding though. They're
So-
succeeding more in their brand and the quality of the build of their phones.
Let's talk a little more about phones and loyalty. You said you've got the S6 Edge, right?
Yeah.
Matthew Datch, or the Datch in the chat,
Edge Lord.
says, I know I'm in the minority, but I don't like large phones. I picked up my Galaxy S4 for the first time in months, and I forgot how nicely it fit in my hand. I'm with you, Datch.
Yeah.
I'm running a loaner LG V10 right now, and it's too big.
It's a big
Nah, he's
phone.
not
It
in the
is a
minority,
beefy
yo.
phone.
I still
Yeah.
use the
Alfred's still into
I
small
still use the
phones.
5S. I'm probably gonna upgrade to an SE, and that's like the
Nice.
furthest I'm going because I'm like it has everything I need.
Yeah.
And it still gets some of the later security
Doesn't
updates.
have
so
the dual camera.
I don't need. I also don't
Until
take that
you
many
have
photos.
it, then it's awesome.
I don't take photos,
You're right.
especially of people.
I mean, I just mostly take photos of my kid.
Yeah.
So, and for that, it's amazing.
Yeah, you're gonna have so many portraits of your kid.
I have so many portrait photos. It's a little obnoxious.
Tell me when the dual camera thing is on the front because I feel like that's when these portrait photos, these fake bokeh stuff is gonna be a lot more like prevalent because
Yeah,
everyone's gonna
classy
take
selfies.
this way, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you can have your single camera selfie. But
Although the whole deal with selfies is, don't you want to like see where you are in the background? If it's all blurred
What?
out, you
no,
can't.
people just want to see themselves.
That's sad. That's just sad.
If you want to do the background, then that's when you get a selfie stick because
Oh,
no
you're
one can be
right.
bothered to ask other people to take photos.
I still ask, but then I'm always disappointed because the photos are terrible.
Back on Matthew's note, though, I wish everything were just smaller. Just make everything tinier. Tiny phones.
Ergonomics.
Little bits.
Zoolander style.
Yeah, man, that'd
Phone
be
for
great.
ants.
Oh yeah, got my little phone here. Yeah, we've kind of like it's this weird. It's an interesting point because everything else in technology is like shrinking, but our phones are getting
Yeah, it
bigger.
makes no sense.
Yeah.
There's actually a question for me in the chat.
Whoa.
This is unreal.
Ooh.
Chris Wesley says, what about you, BVG? Are you up for an upgrade? Are you waiting for something great? I am up for an upgrade, and I'm just kind of biding my time right now.
And you're looking to switch, right? You're looking to get away from your.
I
iPhone.
had an iPhone 6, which I drowned earlier this year. Don't ask how. And then I was borrowing an HTC One,
Which I also drowned.
which I bent.
You bent it?
Bent it.
Oh, it's a metal phone, so I guess it could bend easier. Yeah.
And then now I'm, like I said, I'm running the LG V10, which is a nice phone, but it is uncomfortably large for my
Yeah.
personal preference.
And that
But
V line from LG is kind of analogous to the Samsung Note line, so they're always going to be a little bit bigger and bulkier.
Right now, if I was to throw money down and buy something, I'm looking at an S7 Active.
Oh, interesting.
For sheer
So you can't break it.
Durability.
battery life and durability. Because
Yeah,
right now,
yeah.
that seems to be what I need to go for.
Yeah, but I mean,
But as far as functionality goes, I'm fairly comfortable in both iOS and Android. I've been pleasantly surprised by all of the above.
yeah, the whole size thing was the biggest reason why I switched from Android back to Apple for iOS.
Really?
Yeah, it was basically I was looking for a new Android phone because I had an Android phone like loyally for like.
Oh, there
literally-
aren't that many like.
And then
good,
it's all like,
small-
hey, here's all these giant
Yeah.
phones. All right, well. I
And the
guess-
worst part about it for Android phone makers is like they've gotten into the mindset like bigger means better. So all the small phones they make, and they do make some small phones, they're all like a step back in terms of speed and capabilities. So yeah, it's either like get an awesome big phone or a crappy little phone.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna get the small iPhone.
There you
It
go.
worked out for
There
me.
you go.
Let's go back into the chat. Michael Brown, what will you need out of the Pixel 2 to keep you away from the Samsung Galaxy Note 8?
Ooh.
Don't say headphone jack.
That's it. That's the biggest thing.
Well, headphone jack would be nice.
Dual camera lens,
Dual camera lens. Yeah.
waterproof.
Yeah, all the wireless charging. All the kind of typical bells and whistles. I just want I know the original Pixel camera was rated better than the iPhone camera, and so I'm hoping that they can kind of keep that up. That their camera technology continues to be sort of best in the industry. If that's the case, I mean that's a big selling point for me. And then just the fact that it's a clean version of Android is the bonus on top.
Also, I'm not sure what price point they're gonna go with on this one. That's the one thing that's been
Yeah.
eluding me as far as all these like leaks and rumors goes.
I don't think they're gonna go with like $1,000 price point.
That's the thing. But I mean, with Google's like flagship phones for a while up until the Pixel, we're gonna keep this affordable, like $300, $400.
Then they changed. They flipped the
Then the
script.
Pixel came, and it's
Yeah.
like we're gonna make this real expensive.
And they're rumored to be working with HTC, and HTC tends to make fairly good
Yeah.
high-end phones. So you can imagine this to be fairly expensive.
Yeah, I'm saying if it's at least if it has all those features that we talked about
Yeah.
on our wish list, and if it is at least like $200 or $300 less than the Note 8,
I think it will
yeah,
be.
yeah.
My guess is the small and the large will be $650 and $750, or around last
Yeah.
year's pricing level.
Also,
I'm
if they make
hoping.
like a small version, that'd be incredible.
a Pixel Mini.
Yeah, mini Pixel.
You know what? The thing of it is, they
Pixel?
don't. They just. I don't know. They don't. Maybe they don't sell well. Maybe customers just.
Because people want giant screens to watch like binge
Yeah.
watch stuff on their phone.
Yeah.
And they kind of at this point they equate smaller with cheaper. Like they don't want to pay the same price for a smaller
I
phone.
have no problem with smaller and cheaper. That's exactly
No.
what I want.
That's the thing.
You mean
well-
like cheaper construction? Like
Yeah,
cheap-
yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Let's take a hot second and talk about birds.
Birding.
Michael Brown,
God.
imagine AR coupled with bird watching.
Ooh.
I'd like to see you flesh that idea out, exactly how you picture that kind of playing out, because that's a curious thought.
I mean,
and I bet
can
Steven
sort
Shank
of.
would love to hear
I
about
can
that too.
imagine a scenario where like you could pull up a bird that you think you're looking at. You're like, oh, I think I'm looking at this
It'd be like a
sparrow or whatever. I don't know what bird.
It'd be like a real life Pokédex.
Yeah, like you pull up your phone and like in real life, this bird's flying around, and then you can sort of compare it to the one you're seeing with your actual eyes as opposed to the phone, and you can sort of see if they're similar or not. If you've got the right bird, that would be a good kind of reference, a way to reference whether or not you're looking at the
Now,
right bird.
wasn't Google working on something like that, at least with identifying businesses according
Yeah,
to geolocation?
Yes,
That's
Google-
more for
Google
like
Lens?
that's
Google
more for like
Lens.
static things though, not like
Yeah.
things that are
Obviously,
moving.
but that means that the concept and the technology could possibly be there. I'm
Yeah.
not a developer by any
Although
stretch
I-
of the imagination, but it'd be interesting to see if that was possible in identification.
As I was reading-
and species cataloging.
As I was reading the story, though, a lot of those like old school birders are like, well, that's the day birding dies, basically. Like,
Yeah.
if you
when the human aspect gets taken
when
out
you
of it.
don't when you basically don't need to know anything about birding, you can just point your camera. It's like, oh, it's this thing.
Yeah.
That's when bird watching dies, because it's like that's what the sport's all about. Not sport. That's what the activity's all about, right? It's
Yeah.
going out there, identifying
I don't
birds.
know. Like they have
Yeah.
that for stargazing, and that's not like stargazing is dead.
No,
They
and
have
on
apps
that
that you
note,
can like point it up and like see what constellation it is.
No, but I think
that was
it's-
Matthew's follow-up was what about AR astrology?
yeah, they have that already.
It does exist.
Yeah.
I've never tried it.
I've never tried it either.
I'd be kind of interested to see if you could actually bring that into the home through your mobile device, where it would be more like an interactive in-house planetarium type thing.
yeah.
Because I love going to the planetarium, but it gets pricey.
Oh yeah.
It gets
Yeah,
pricey.
Yeah.
DeGrasse Tyson, bring that price down. But I do love it, and it'd be kind of cool if you could like rig that up to a projector, put it on your ceiling,
Right.
and go stargazing in your house. Because I mean, for those of us that live in the city, you can't see the stars as well.
Yeah.
That's just a thought.
Yeah, I went on a camping trip and I was really excited to do some stargazing, and then my site was underneath a bunch of trees. So
Oh. Well,
That sounds about right.
Why don't you just
Walk out?
Away, yeah, walk away from
Nah.
the trees. You're too lazy. You're like, no, I set my tent right here. That's where I'm
My
staying.
tent was already set up. I wasn't.
Well, this is my life now. Back on AR though, like,
Yeah.
we talk about how birding, if the mobile device identification was brought into that, and it would essentially kind of kill the sport. That's not necessarily true either. I mean, this might be a slightly offensive analogy to people, but I mean, hunting still exists, and no one needs to hunt for their own food anymore. It's an activity.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there are a number of things like outdoorsy type of
it's-
activities
no, but
where
I think
it's about the catharsis, about the enjoyment.
But the idea of birding is the idea of going out there, looking at these birds, and using, I guess, old school methods to identify what these birds are. Whether it's looking up in a book, trying to listen to the call.
But if you're
figuring out-
looking up in
figuring
a
out-
book, isn't it the same thing as like looking it up on your phone?
I guess, but it's a lot slower. I don't know.
So what? It dies because it's faster to find out something.
Well, no, because you're not trying to find out anymore. You basically what he's saying is you point your phone at it, and it'll tell you immediately it's this thing.
Oh.
And you're not judging. The thing of it is with a book, I mean,
I always thought
there's that.
the beauty of birding was just being able to see birds like in their like natural habitat being
No.
like, free.
A lot of it is finding specific, hard to find birds. It's like Pokemon. It's finding and trying to
Yeah,
identify.
but in Pokemon you can find it immediately though. They don't have to pull out books to like know what Pokemon it is.
Okay, fine. It's not the right analogy, but I'm just saying it's not necessarily just like looking at random birds. It's like going after and finding
Yeah.
specific birds in the wild.
Yeah, who am I to disagree with expert birders on what
That's
kills their
right.
sport? So
That's
not
right.
that-
Before we go any further, a correction on my part. Matthew Datcher pointed out I said astrology instead of astronomy. And I'm a fool.
AR astrology.
AR
Ooh.
astrology, like
This guy's a
the Taurus
Scorpio.
is just gonna fly at you and just starts trampling over you.
Freudian slip.
That's
You're gonna have a
right.
bad day today, sir.
But the words can fly at you, right?
So sorry about that. I'm an idiot. One more question before we let it go. Jackie asks, I'm confused. Is birding the same thing as Naruto Run?
Ha!
No, there's AR Naruto Run too. It's great.
Oh, God.
Oh God.
They poof the little ninjas behind.
I know
you.
you're joking, but like I feel like that's a thing. That could be a very realistic
I'm gonna
thing.
do it. I'm gonna make it now and make millions.
That could be your
you know,
You're like, I'm out. CNET. I've
I
retired.
was
I'm
actually
going to
really
run.
disappointed.
Buddy.
So on Saturday, I got a link to another event. It was Scream Like Goku in front of Washington Square Park.
Oh my
like the
God.
Arches. And I was like, no one's gonna go to this. And then I saw a video of a bunch of people just like screaming. Like,
How many is a bunch though?
It was like more than the Naruto one. I was
Oh,
like, I was
yeah?
thinking like I should have went to this instead.
What has a larger base? Of
Definitely
fans?
Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z, right? Okay.
But birding probably has larger than both of them.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
there are a lot more birders, and apparently it's a growing. I keep calling it a sport. Is it a sport?
It's a hobby.
It's a hobby. It's a growing hobby.
Yeah, isn't like a majority of people on our staff now like into birding? I think
a
because
bu-
of
I think,
Shanklin.
yeah, I think a bunch, whether either read the story or have just talked to Shanklin, have become birders. At least folks on SF. People in New York don't bird.
I
do
look
they?
at pigeons all the time.
The city. Yeah, we just have pigeons.
We actually have a lot of falcons in the city.
Really?
Yeah, and like
That's
I've seen
kinda cool.
I've seen red-tailed hawks. And New York City actually has the largest population
Swallows and sparrows.
of like has like a really large, not largest. I don't know where the largest is. Might be New York. I don't know. But an urban area of peregrine falcons, which is like the fastest animal on the planet. Because
Really?
and yeah, because they eat pigeons. They like dive bomb and then like
Oh,
grab
wow.
pigeons and like eat them.
Do you watch? Like, do you
I've
ever
seen
go
it.
watch-
It's great. I haven't seen it in person, but
You've watched YouTube clips.
yeah. Also on Planet Earth 2, like that's part of their.
Oh,
like,
cool.
That's one of the things that
okay.
they talk about.
Okay. Nice.
But
All
also-
right.
Any other questions about birding, Note, or T-Mobile, Netflix?
No, not this time around, but we should clarify. Make sure to look at the actual T-Mobile Netflix article that we'll post in the show description.
Yep.
It is important. It's not just like all no holds bar. You get Netflix. You get Netflix.
Yeah.
There
There are a bunch of caveats to it. There,
including the quality of Netflix you get.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
You get the standard. You get the standard
you
plan,
don't
which is HD.
Get the premium.
Yes.
I
Which I mean, to be fair, like they intend for this to be mobile. Although you can watch it on anything, and they've really been kind of lowering the quality of the streams going to their phones. And they argue like a 4K stream doesn't make a difference on your phone. Like you're not gonna know you're
Yeah.
watching 4K.
Yeah, because no phones have 4K
Right.
screens, right?
And if you do pay for a premium plan already, they'll basically take $10 off of that plan. So you paid $2.
And we're not trying to
Yeah.
be overly critical.
But there
we're
are.
all- there-
You should
it's
read the
not-
story. There are
yeah.
definitely some details you want to know about the plan. It starts September 12th.
Yep.
And yeah, if you're on a T-Mobile One family plan, that's important. A T-Mobile One plan, not one of the other discounted plans or the legacy plan like that I'm on. Then you're eligible.
Yeah.
So
All right. Anyways, I think that's about the right place to land
Yeah.
it off for Wednesday. Thanks everybody for joining. Roger, bring us home.
all right. If you liked anything you saw or heard here, check us out on CNET. Our podcast is also available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, FeedBurner, and Google Play Music. We will try and see you tomorrow.
Try.
What?
Try. I will. I don't know. I'm not gonna be around. Maybe. But we'll see.
Okay. Bye.
Sounds like my dad. I'll try to make